Hi, my name is Ashley Alborn, and I had the human immunodeficiency virus, otherwise known as HIV. For the gram staining, HIV does not have any type of gram staining because gram staining involves bacteria only, and HIV is a virus. For the components, HIV has several components that make up the virus. Such components and their unique characteristics include an envelope protein, which is found on the surface of the virus, a matrix, which consists of the protein below the viral membrane, a capsid, which holds all the genetic information and the enzymes that is needed in order for the virus to replicate, a nucleocapsid, which is a protein that is found in the capsid, and it coats the viral RNA, a P6, which is a small protein that finds any host cell protein to pinch off the viral bud, protease, which are similar to scissors in the fact that they are enzymes that cut long strands of the HIV proteins into smaller particles. This makes up the mature virus particle. And there's a few more. Reverse transcriptase, which is an enzyme that is found in the capsid and is needed to make the viral DNA by mimicking the viral RNA sequence. Integrase, which is an enzyme that is also found in the capsid and causes the viral DNA to be inserted into the DNA of the host cell. Viral RNA, which is the genetic material containing information that can code for viral proteins. Viral membrane, which is a very thin layer of nothing but fatty material that encloses the virus particle completely, and that includes all the components of HIV. For the structure, the shape of HIV is icosahedral enveloped. An icosahedral means that the subunits are arranged as a hollow quasi-spherical structure, and the genome is within the capsid. Social class and HIV. So the lower class is the one that suffers the most. Annual house incomes from $0 to $9,999 has a percentage rate of 52% of HIV victims. Annual house income that is above $50,000 only has a 3% rate of HIV. When it comes to poverty, those whose incomes are below poverty threshold stands at a 75% rate of HIV victims. Race in HIV. So 12% of the U.S. population are African Americans. 45% of them suffer with HIV. African Americans hold the greater percentage of HIV due to the area they live in. African Americans are more likely to be uninsured, and they may or may not have access or resources to information for HIV treatment or testing. The significance on the community. It can be very harmful. Most people don't even know that they have HIV. So when they have unprotected sex, then they're going to be spreading it to person, pretty much without even knowing. The community as a whole needs to always have an HIV test done if they have unprotected sex, because the person that they gave it to also won't know that they have it, and they can also spread it around the whole community. An entry site, breast milk, blood, semen, and vaginal fluid. Some attack points. So as soon as the individual is infected with HIV, the virus attacks and diminishes the CD4 cells that are part of the immune system. CD4 cells are white blood cells that play a role in protecting the body from invaders that cause infections. HIV uses the CD4 cells to make several copies of itself and then spreads throughout the entire body. There are 7 stages of HIV life cycle. So the first stage is binding and attachment. So during this stage, HIV attaches to the receptors of the CD4 cell. And the second stage is fusion, which is when the HIV envelope and the CD4 membrane joins together to allow HIV to enter into the CD4 cell. The third stage is reverse transcription, and this is when HIV releases and then uses this method inside the CD4 cell to convert its genetic material into HIV DNA. The fourth stage is integration, and this is when HIV is released. When HIV has released an HIV enzyme called integrase and then uses that enzyme to insert its viral DNA into the CD4's DNA. The fifth stage is replication, and this happens after HIV inserts into the CD4 DNA, and HIV begins to make copies of itself to make long chains of HIV proteins. The sixth stage, which is assembly, this is when the new HIV proteins and RNA end up moving to the surface of the cell and it turns into the immature HIV. And then the seventh stage, which is budding, this is the last stage, and the immature HIV pushes out the CD4 cell and releases protease. Signs and symptoms. The signs and symptoms differs from person to person. One person could take several years before they even come up with any type of minor sign. Another person could have signs and symptoms show up within like 4 to 8 weeks of when it comes in contact. So some early symptoms, a lot of people get it confused with flu-like symptoms. So they're going to have swollen lymph nodes, fever, diarrhea, headache, muscle ache, nausea, vomiting, rash on the abdomen, arms, and legs, and face, a sore throat, and oral thrush. And then if you don't get it taken care of whenever it happens, then you're going to have late symptoms. And this involves swollen lymph glands in the neck and groin, lethargy and fatigue, repeated fevers and night sweats, diarrhea, headaches, body aches, sore throat, joint pain, weight loss, short-term memory loss, mouth sores and ulcers, gingivitis, and for women, yeast infections and PID. The immune response can be very tricky. So the antibody response begins to develop about 4 to 8 weeks after the infection enters the body. Some antibodies are targeted specifically against the free-floating virus. Other antibodies will destroy HIV-infected cells. Very small amount of people who are infected with HIV are not able to develop antibodies to fight against the virus. For vaccinations that occur, there are none for HIV, sadly. Scientists are struggling with finding a vaccination because HIV affects humans only, so they can't go around and test animals like they do with other vaccinations. However, scientists have created a vaccine that protects monkeys from an SIV disease, so they are very hopeful that they will find an HIV vaccination very soon. Treatment. If you do have HIV, then your doctor will want you to start a highly active antiretroviral therapy, otherwise known as HAART. HAART includes nucleoside analogs, protease inhibitors, and reverse transcriptase inhibitors. HAART has been effective, proven an increase in survival rate, and a major reduced risk of progression to AIDS. Lifestyle changes. So since your doctor can only prescribe HAART and there is no other treatment, vaccination, or cure, your doctor highly recommends lifestyle changes. These life changes can slow down the HIV and could eventually be stopped. Abstinence or faithful monogamy with unaffected individuals, the use of clean needles for all injections. If you're pregnant, then AZT needs to be given if HIV is present. This can reduce placenta transfer of HIV to the fetus, and then regular screening of blood products, and organ transplants. And that is it.